When I was young, I always wanted to be a gangster, and the best way and closest thing I got was ToeJam Earl. That's right, ToeJam Earl is coming back. Yet a fourth game, headed by the original creator Greg Johnson himself, has been successfully funded on Kickstarter and, well, to celebrate the occasion, we'll be looking at the first two games in the series, and we'll be seeing if they're still worth playing in our modern gaming landscape. So, let's dive in!
First of all, the story. ToeJam and Earl are traveling in their spaceship until Earl decides he wants to have a go on the controls. Sadly, he's a terrible pilot.
Like Samus.
And he crashes a ship onto Earth, causing the ship's pieces to scatter all over the place.
Almost like Samus.
Almost like Samus. The rest of the game involves exploring the bizarre human world, collecting the pieces and avoiding the deranged humans, including the Boogeyman and Hula Girls.
ToeJam Earl's greatest strength is ultimately in its heavy dose of originality and funky style. In fact, the game's funkiness is even more funky than Mr. King of the Afros.
Its take on the human world is absolutely brilliant, as it makes the aliens seem completely normal in contrast to the bizarre humans. The game also has a sense of humor, and you often laugh out loud at the funny situations that occur when near a human being, like when you go near the Hula Girl.
A lot of this humor is carried over through the fluid and quirky animations of the characters, and truth be told, the animations still hold up relatively well.
It of course comes across all pixelated due to it being sprites, but that's nothing a HD Sheen won't fix. Sadly, the game's environments are unfortunately very generic, consisting mainly of floating green lands with roads and lakes. After a while it gets pretty bland and you feel like you've explored all these areas before. Like here, for example, look, it's another Hula Girl.
Of course, the gameplay is the heart of any game, and with ToeJam Earl, it's like Marmite. You either love it, or you hate it.
You'll love it if you're a fan of spontaneity, as most of the game is based on the principles of random chance. The maps are randomly generated, so no playthrough is ever the same, and the presents you collect are random too. You won't know what you've got till you open one, so you may end up getting rocket skates which send you flying and fall to your doom. If, of course, you hate randomness, then chances are you'll hate this game as much as the new Terminator movie.
Personally, the random gameplay is something I both adore and loathe. While its randomness can be genuinely funny, it can also be quite frustrating, especially when a present hinders your progress. Although regardless on where you stand with the gameplay, there's no denying that the game feels awfully slow and clunky.
As I was playing Earl, he seemed so content to just stroll around that when I was being chased by the devil or something, it evolved into a slow, meandering slog that lacked the kinetic energy of a Charlie Chaplin film. Ultimately, the randomness and slowness of the gameplay just makes the game a bit of a chore to play.
Of course, one of the defining features of the game that helps eradicate some of its slowness is the co-op play, which undoubtedly doubles the fun by 2.
Sadly, we couldn't get any co-op gameplay because Honest Review was lapping it up in Las Vegas, rubbing shoulder to shoulder with Michael Douglas. Here's the photo. The co-op is good fun, and you can spend plenty of time just messing about with your mate. Last but not least, the game's funky soundtrack is just that. Funky. It's one of the few Genesis soundtracks that would sound perfect, even if it was directly copied onto a more powerful system. It just complements the game so well, it's like it's just perfect.
So looking back, ToeJam Earl's originality, humor, character soundtrack, and all-around funkiness ultimately make this game a memorable experience.
However, its gameplay may split you down the middle, either frustrating you or pleasing you, and there's no denying the slough-like pace and bland environments may make this game feel more like a chore than it should be.
So, is it really dated? The answer is yes. Well, for us anyway.
There's no denying there's an audience for this kind of game, but sadly for us, the game is just too clunky and just too monotonous to sustain our interest. We love the funk though, and we funking love the funk. It's so funky, it's like, hey Arnold!